Right, as for your standard of living, this is kind of important because, okay, so when you have higher standard of living, I'm not entirely sure if this is true. I might be speaking out of absolutely no relevance to the truth here, but I think higher standard of living will increase your attraction for immigration, although I could be wrong about that. No, I'm correct. Okay, yeah, your standard of living does increase the attraction. Currently it's 0 because we haven't unpaused the game, but yeah, so the more you have a higher standard of living in a province, or a state, the more likely people are going to want to move there because they're like, hey, these guys got it pretty good. I kind of want to have it good as well. Let's move over there. So having a higher standard of living is good. If you have it above the minimum expected, which will change as I unpause, people will be very upset if it's below this. I don't know if I said below or above, but if it's below the minimum, people will be upset. If it's above the minimum, they don't actually care, you know, ungrateful, typical. But as this number goes up, you will have more loyalists and fewer radicals, and as the number goes down, you will have less loyalists and more radicals. So it's all very relative to what it starts as, and the only real thing to pay attention to is the minimum expected. Below is bad, above is whatever, and if this starts to drop a lot, then people are going to become very radical. You could have like the best standard of living in the world, but if it drops by like 1, people are going to start getting radical. It's all very relative, which is why like you want to give people a good life, but not too good. You want to make sure things are great, but not that great, because if it starts to go bad, then they're gonna get really angry. So like, within reason, you want to like make sure everything's great. Yeah, so... generally though, having it higher is good. Having it higher is good. If they can't read, they can't rebel. Yeah, well, you also don't get a good economy if they can't read. If they can read, then just like give them a good enough life that they will work in the factories and not complain, okay? If you can't give them a good enough life to work in the factories, and like they start complaining about their quality of life while working in the factories, that's when it's a bit of a problem. Yeah, that's when you get a couple of issues. And if there are enough radical people in a state, you'll actually get turmoil, which will decrease the amount of tax you collect, and a bunch of other issues. And then, you know, if they're super radical and another interest group is also radicalized, like, we don't actually have trade unions right now, do we? We do, but like not really. So if the trade unions have enough support and they're super radical and the population's also very radical, then, you know, you might have a cheeky little proletariat revolt, you know? It happens sometimes. Like, whoops, I accidentally forgot to press the boot down harder, now they're rising up. Anyway, that's basically what quality of life is, standard of living.